evening is all about you. It's all about who you are, your stories, your life, engaged with my intuition. I'm going to be mixing this with a little bit of comedy spiced in here and there, but the humour is never going to be about you in a derogatory way. It may be a little bit self-depreciating, but that's the way that it goes. So are you up for that? Yes. Now, I have to warn you that what happens is usually at the end of the show, people come up to me in the bar and they go, "Oh, can I give you my ring? Can I give you my ring? And I'm like, "No, bugger off." Because basically you need to be participating in the show if you want to do it. Now, there's some people who are really fast at this, who are just like, me, and then other people who get me in the toilet. So I'm warning you now, I don't wash my hands. You don't want me touching anything that belongs to you. So as long as you're up for this. Was that a slow? Yes. Would you like me to demonstrate? Because I can do a whole reenactment of my toilet journey if you would like me to. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start off by showing you a little bit of science. Is that good? And what this science is that according to Einstein, energy gets absorbed into walls. And in actual fact that there is more space in a wall. You can laugh, that's fine. I will pay you for it, I promise, I know. What actually happens is that there is more space in a wall than there is matter. It's surprising the darn thing is actually holding up. So what it means that within this space, energy can be absorbed. Now, I hear people like they're making a sound, not audibly, but I interpret people as if they're making a sound. And let me tell you, like miserable people sound like this. And these people sound like this. Which is why when I'm shouting at someone, I go, "For God's sake!" I don't quite know how that happens. But so happiness is kind of like a high resonance, and sort of sadness is a low resonance. And you're nodding. Do you hear people like this as well?
Yeah.
Thank you. It's good to have another weirdie in the audience. High five, weirdie.
I didn't know that.
You see, you look, she was after you for your looks. But you want to hear what you sound like in bed. You start, like most of us sound like, You are off the scale, because I can imagine that intuitively. I've already been there with... Anyway, no. I'm giving away all of my trade secrets. Oh, it's enough to make anyone cringe. I don't wash my hands, I join people in bedrooms, metaphorically, it's all going very wrong. And some of you are really taking that far too seriously. Okay, so I found that your vibrational frequency, your theme tune, a bit like Bod. Remember Bod and the policeman would go pop, 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 pom, 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 and Bod was the tin whistle. Just be careful, because it's an age thing. So people that remember Bod are probably of a particular age group. So the thing about that is, if that energy and that sound gets absorbed into objects, which means your watches, rings, anything else I can nick, has your frequency of vibration in it. So I've got an Irish background. Anyway, so has anyone got something I can play with? Yay! Let's go with the person who can hear me in sound.
I'm really interested in this.
Please, because you spent for a ticket, didn't you? No, we can pass it down the line.
Thank you.
If you weren't interested in it, I would be wondering what on earth you were doing here. But then, actually, that happened last time I was here. There was a couple that I think were basically just having a bit of a bad night. And they when you've been in a relationship so long that you actually kind of like stare meaningfully into Guinness. And because what's going on with the pint of Guinness is because all of the things that you want to say that you can't say because you know would end the relationship is like the froth. And the actual depth of the relationship is in the rest of the glass. So, and that's a very metaphorical way of sort of like saying you just don't talk to each other anymore because you can't get through the froth to actually get to the meaning part of the relationship. This isn't about you guys, just saying. So you end up kind of like staring at your drinks and not having a conversation. And then eventually the argument is already happening in your head. And so all of a sudden she stands up and goes, "You do you?" and walks out. And he's like going, "What? What?" Because she's like you and me. We can hear what's going on. And he's just sitting there going, miserable cat. Anyway, that couple came to my show and they were sitting at the back and they thought it was a play. So they're sort of sitting there going, this is very interesting. It's kind of Beckett. Becky, not Beckett, but close. So I feel like it's interesting because you're very expressive, and we had a little chat in the interval, so you're a really expressive person. And yet, and this is not about you, because the paranoia can suddenly start to drip down your face. But you're not being expressive about something in yourself, which is you are actually a really powerful woman, but you don't like power. And what I mean by power is you don't like people in authority, hierarchies, you don't like class generalisation, you don't, she's like, it's weird, isn't it? Yeah, I can see that about you. So you just don't like that. So it's like if I was to give you a set of rules, you would find some way around them. You know, a little bit like when I used to go to Glastonbury Festival, head first over the fence. You just don't do rules. Now the problem is for the line of work that you're wanting to go in, and in actual fact for everything, you've got this. I know I'm here to change the world. I'm just a bit embarrassed about that. Because I think it's my ego talking. So what's interesting is your ego is telling you that it's your ego. That deserves a woo. So your ego is saying that your ego is telling you that you're here to change the world. So if it's your ego that's saying that you're here to change the world, perhaps you actually are. So your higher self, or that other part of you, that heart knowing, that expansive kind of, oh, I can see what I need to do for these humans. Very much like Doctor Who. You know how, do you like Doctor Who? Anyone here like Doctor Who? Thank you. You're just not my crowd now. I'm just saying. If you can't admit to liking Doctor Who, what, do you think there's an age thing around Doctor Who? There is no age thing around Doctor Who. So, the thing is, like Doctor Who, in the way that everyone can see that he is human. But he actually turns up in places and looks at humans with this kind of like loving compassion, despite how bloody irritating they are. So it's a little bit like you have this feeling, it's like the song that was just on, Hark, I got a feeling. So you have a feeling that you're here to do something amazing. But the power dynamic kind of stops you. Because the people who think that they're here to do something amazing run governments and are also known as psychos. So, exactamente, the wackers. And that's how much you don't like people in authority. There's a different type of power between authority power and power to. So there is such a thing as power over, which is the power that you don't like, but there is power to, and without power to, there is no empowerment. So in actual fact, you're here to empower other people, and you do it all the time. You do that when you're buying a cappuccino. You say something sweet to the person behind the counter. Sorry, it's not usually cute boys. So it's a thing, I'm just saying. So really, that is your trajectory, but you're sidestepping your trajectory because you don't want to be a wanker. You couldn't possibly be a wanker. You could try and be a wanker, but there's a difference between speaking your truth and being a wanker. Wankers say, I'm amazing and I'm better than anyone else. People speaking their truth say, I'm amazing, but there's probably somebody who could do it better than I could, but I'm amazing, and my amazingness is here to serve you. That's what amazing people do. That's how amazing you are, to get your crap about power out of the way, because you're not serving the world to your full capacity of powerness. I don't think powerness is a word.
It is now.
Excellent. Comprende. Thank you very much. Let me give you that back.
Thank you.
That's all right. You're very welcome. Could you pass that? Thank you. Yes, don't worry. She's so awake, she's gone into a trance. It's amazing. That's a problem with awakening. Awakening seems to happen in your bedroom whilst navel gazing. I don't know why. Good. So has anyone else got a piece of thing I can play with?
Go on then.
Oh, sir, it's been a while since someone's offered me something as valuable as a watch. God damn it. Oh, I love this. He's just getting.
No, I'm just watching it.
Have we met? Because it is quite a nice watch. I like weighty things. It's quite nice. It's kind of, it suits my magpie mentality and the back pocket. Yes. So there's an irritation, and it's got nothing to do with you. There's an irritation. No, you're not an irritation. I'm saying that you feel like you're irritated to me. There's an irritation. There's an annoyance going on. It's like. So I feel that this annoyance has been emerging slowly over 2 years, and it reminds me of the boiling frog syndrome. Have you heard of it?
No.
It's quite nasty, isn't it? Basically, if you were to put a boiling frog into boiling water, well, it wouldn't be boiling in the first place. If you were to put a frog into boiling water, it would just jump back out because it's not stupid. If you put a frog in cold water and gently turn up the heat, it just stays there. And sometimes our lives do that. For example, living in London, that's what happened to me. I suddenly found myself because I'd kind of walked it, I was like, oh yeah, I won't live here for very long, I'll just be here for a little period of time. And then over a period of time, I started to kind of like vibrate to the frequency of London. And then I was kind of like in boiling water, boiling and bubbling and spinning around. And I just couldn't leave because I didn't know I was in boiling water. And I became what I call the cappuccino woman. I'm sure you know who this cappuccino woman is. The cappuccino woman buys a cappuccino. She also has a long wheelbase trolley. So you know there's kind of like, you pull them along. Now the problem with being my height is that those things become a massive trip hazard. So suddenly you've kind of like gone, and I'm very cautious. I walk like this with my trolley, pulling it around, because of course, you don't want people tripping over it because that would be a cruel thing to do. So I tend to kind of, have the elbow going up, but I pull my trolley up here. Otherwise, because if it's down here, it just goes on and on and on. And yet most cappuccino women don't know this about these trolleys. So what they'll do is they'll have cappuccino in one hand, trolley in the other, and an Oyster card in their mouth. And somehow it's like they get the coffee, and they always have to be first in the queue. They get the coffee, grab the coffee, got the long wheelbase, then they get to the Oyster card reader. And I don't know how they do it, because they're always wearing heels. That wasn't me, I never wore the heels. But they kind of like sort of do this very seductive on the Oyster card reader, the gates open and off they go, narrowly missing the gates closing on the trolley. I am getting to your point. Anyway, narrowly missing that, and then they kind of like rush and they're running down the escalators, kneecapping people as they go with the trolley, but they have not spilt one single bit of cappuccino. It's exceptionally amazing. So they run all of the way down the stairs, and then they kind of like, they get through the door, just as the doors are closing. Oh my God, I saw this happen to this one girl once where she didn't kind of make it. Oh, it was awful. It was really awful. And you know how everyone just kind of like, I mean, she still didn't spill the coffee, so don't worry. But you know how someone kind of like goes through and then the doors close. And she got the long wheelbase through, she got the coffee through, and then literally just closed right in between her breasts. I thought, oh my God, that's going to absolutely kill. And you know how like everyone just kind of does this? There's a woman in kind of like impaled with it was like it could have been to the left, impaled kind of in the doorway, and obviously the door's kind of open and she's got staggered on, and there was this couple sitting there, and he said, and the woman sort of said, oh my God, she was lucky, because the train could have gone and she could have been trapped in the doors. He went, lucky doors. Some people don't care. And so, there's me, I'm back in London again, and you just narrowly get onto the train, and the train speeds off, and you're kind of sweating, but you just, we don't really sweat. So the train speeds off, you've got your long wheelbase, you still haven't spilt your coffee. And then eventually, the tube gets where it's meant to go, and you step off the tube and wait because you're early. That's London. So I managed to get over being a cappuccino woman. But what I mean by the boiling frog syndrome is I didn't even realise I'd got to that point of asleep, because I hadn't seen anyone. There could have been like a disabled person, there could have been a pregnant woman, there could have been anything. I want that seat. So, because I have a cappuccino, I have to have a seat. And priorities. It should be a sign, cappuccino woman gets the seat. So irritation can come over time, and you don't really necessarily notice that it's kind of coming up. But you've got itchy feet. It's like you're ready to shift something. And you're kind of going, but it's been building for quite a long time. And my thought is that you may get to the point where you suddenly just come to the two most profound spiritual words. And I would ask you to repeat them as a mantra. Fuck it. Because once you get to that place, it's like a place of release. And you can suddenly go, do you know what? Fuck it. I don't give a shit anymore. And so for the last 2 years, it's been building up into this boiling frog climax where the frog suddenly goes and jumps out of the water and just kind of, not into the, not frying pan fire, but just jumps out of the boiling water into freedom. But there is also the financial aspect of jumping out of the bucket and kind of like going, well, how does this actually balance with the rest of it? Because jumping out of one thing and then walking into the stress of another, which is, oh shit, I have no money. So does anyone else relate to this?
Yeah.
And then the law of attraction says, oh, just quit your job. Yes, they're done. So it's just that there needs to be this transition, and you're not quite to the spiritual metaphor of fuck it. But you're close enough. And I think maybe even just me highlighting the boiling frog syndrome might make you realise exactly how hot your water currently is. Helpful?
Pretty much.
Do you know what?
A bit far behind.
He's already fucked it. Oh. He clearly hasn't been wearing this watch for a while. New job on Monday. Excellent. So he's already done it. Well, congratulations on fucking it. Because,
Congratulations.
everyone, congratulations on fucking it. Woo! Good. So maybe I haven't worn the watch in a week or so. Thank you very much. Cool. So now it's this point where I'm going to bribe you. So I have in here kind of like raffle tickets, and so what is in here is I've got numbers, and the numbers correspond to song lyrics that I've got. So I'm going to ask you if you've got any questions, things that you're stuck on in life, like it could be anything at all. I've had all sorts of questions, like when am I going to get laid? That was an interesting one. I had to volunteer because I felt sorry for him. I've had, people sort of saying to me, what's the meaning of life? And of course I know. So I think that was the cheeky girls, I think. So all sorts of things can go on in here. But there is also two in here where you can win a copy of one of my books. Thank you very much. So the books are there. So if you win that, then we're going to use the book, the good book, as a reference point for your consultation. Okay? So who has a question? Something that you've been thinking about? Something that you're stuck on? Oh, brilliant. Volunteer the boyfriend. Can I take this out for you?
Yeah.
Okay. Da-da-da-da, number 2. So let's see what song lyric number 2 is. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to cast my finger down the page and you're going to tell me when to stop. But first of all, what is your question?
Is my choice of career the correct one for me?
Ah, very good. I was so worried he was going to say, is my partner going to marry me? Because if that ever happened and it kind of like came up with, sort of...
Definitely not.
Okay, this is going to go well. So the song that you've got is Snow Patrol Chasing Cars. So you're not a car mechanic, are you? Because that would just be... Anyway, no, it doesn't look like that. It doesn't have that kind of hands. Tell me when to stop.
Stop.
Okay. I don't quite know how to say how I feel. Those 3 words are said too much. They're not enough. Well, this is helpful, isn't it? So the question being, are you on the right career path? Is that the question?
Yeah.
Well, I don't quite know, as the lyric says, how to say how I feel. So that's summed up the fact that you don't know. And then those 3 words are said too much, they're not enough. So do you believe that you're supposed to love your job? Do you believe that you're supposed to love it?
My career choice is as an actor. So, yeah, I do. I love it.
When you're on stage? When you're getting hired?
Yeah.
When you're not sitting waiting for the phone?
Or when I'm doing my other job, which is as a fish farmer.
Lord. So I can see why it's like, I don't quite know why I'm doing this. Followed by, those 3 words are said too much, they're not enough. It's not enough just to love acting and be dealing with fish. No. Stop it, Mr. Smuttery. Good grief, it's not that kind of show. But I'm glad that you laugh because I was doing it internally. I worked in theatre for 15 years. I worked with actors for 15 years. I dated a lot of actors who were mostly unemployed. None of them were working with fish. So the thing is I would try and find another job other than the fish job. However, I love you. I want to tour with you. I want to take you everywhere I go. You're brilliant. I think, talking of power, I think you're giving your power away. And I tell you something, this is very interesting because it's fine. It's absolutely, yeah, love it. So I think what's going on here is the world has changed really, and we have stepped into another paradigm where you had to kind of wait for your agent to get you a casting, and then you get the casting, and then you get a part, and then you do the part for a certain run of time, and then you are unemployed again for a patch of time. You love acting. Why aren't you acting? Like, why aren't you getting cameras? Why aren't you writing scripts? Why aren't you putting stuff? Because get it out there, because you're an amazing writer. You have a great brain. In fact, you actually hate being directed. So I'm surprised, really, that you're not actually creating your own stuff. Because you tend to find, like, if a director starts to limit you in the way in which you're portraying the character, you get a bit sort of frustrated by that. You're kind of going, yeah, I bet, because it comes out in your jaw and it's kind of clenching. Yeah. It's always good to have the girlfriend there, because, yeah, you do that, because it's hard to know ourselves and be quite subjective. So the thing is get out there, get on YouTube, get stuff produced, and wait for the networks to catch up with you, wait for the production companies to catch up with you. There's a thing called, I think it's called Press Record. Have you seen that? It's an American Hollywood actor. Good-looking guy. Yeah,
Yes.
he's the one that he did 500 Days of Summer or something like that. Yeah, why did she leave him? Why? Anyway, why don't you start uploading stuff to that? Why don't you start just putting your stuff out there? Because there's not really much point sort of sitting back, waiting to be found. And I certainly know that this is my best name drop ever, so I'm just going to dump it now, just because it's appropriate. But I used to share a flat with Simon Pegg and Nick Frost.
Oh my God!
I know. So all of a sudden it's going to go, oh my God, she's totally Daisy. So he was writing Spaced at the time when we were living in this flat. And basically his point was this: at the time Nick was working in Chiquitos, so it was just kind of like Simon started to create what they both needed in terms of their career by writing it. You know, and look at where they are now. And in actual fact, every single actor I've ever worked with, I could do another one, Martin Freeman. So every single actor that I have ever worked with, oh, I'm such a wanker. But sometimes I can't help it. So all of them are now doing amazingly well because they took the initiative to create stuff themselves. The ones that I'm seeing going places. The ones that just waited and went, my bloody agent, oh my God, I don't get any phone calls from my bloody agent. Well, your agent doesn't do that. Your agent answers the phone, but it doesn't create the calls.
That's brilliant advice.
That's all right. Thank you very much. Good. Other questions?
Can you ask questions for other people, or does it have to be for yourself?
In fact, do you want to give me the name of that other person? And just let's write it down on a piece of paper right now, and I'm going to tell you all about that other person, then you can ask the question about them. Is that fine? Because I like to up the jeopardy of the show. And so we can ask a question about somebody that isn't here. How amazing is that? Okay, so do you want to kind of get, because you're going to need a piece of paper and a pen. So come on down. And then everyone else, start thinking about a question. I haven't finished with you yet. Okay, so write the name of the person. Can't be someone I know. If you say Keith Chegwin, I'm going to die.
Do I have to write second name as well?
Yeah. Thank you very much. Now stay there. Well, you actually have to give me that. Thank you very much. Okay, and you can say yes and no or elaborate. That's perfectly fine. Okay. That actually worked. Oh my God. That was like an energetic hush. Yeah, I'll make a really good teacher actually. I'm quite scary though. That was properly a nervous laugh. Suddenly feel like
I forgot I was on stage.
Wow, you must be really comfortable in my... No, I don't think you are. Okay. They're stuck. They are really stuck on some stuff and they just can't... It's like they're stuck. And sometimes we get stuck in a thought pattern where we just kind of like start looping ourselves around. Do you mind kind of just going there? Yes, because I need to cheat it out to the audience. Thank you. That's all right. It's an old theatre term. Yes, exactly. It's completely a bit of stagecraft. Although I'm sure that Sarah's annoyed with me now. So it's like straight from the camera. This person is stuck. It's like, but they're stuck because of the way in which their perception is working on a particular situation. So if their perception was to shift, they wouldn't be stuck anymore. Because you know when you kind of like, I had a perception sticking point, which was that I'm stupid. And I got this perception sticking point by being dyslexic. And so all my school reports said, you know, lovely girl, not very bright. And of course, brightness is kind of configured by your academic brightness. Now I understand that an extreme level of intuition is actually caused by dyslexia. So I'm an I-type dyslexic, which has to be brilliant, because everything that starts with an I, like an iPhone and an iPad, pretty damn good. So I'm an I-type dyslexic, and so basically what that means is that I see patterns in things and I put things together. So when I'm looking at this, I look at the patterns in the way that you've written out the name and it tells me something. So in the same way that someone might look at a tarot card and it does that. So it's the opposite spectrum of being Asperger's. So people who are Asperger's are really good with maths and numbers, stereotypically. You know, I always think, ooh, Rain Man, go to the casino. And then I actually failed my maths ungraded. Like, they couldn't even look at it. It was like... but I passed a degree module in maths because it was maths in archetype and nature and it was patterns. And I could see the patterns in numbers, but I couldn't see the figures because they were compartmentalised into parts. And the left hemisphere of the brain does parts, the right hemisphere sees everything as a whole. So, what's this got to do with this person? It's because the perception shift is the fact that they have what's known as an interdisciplinary mind. Woo, sorry. Which means jack of all trades and master of none. Now, the thing about the interdisciplinary mind is that these people have crazy ideas, really amazing ideas, but they just can't fixate on one idea. And then society says, well, you have to find one thing that you do and stick at it and make that one thing become how you become successful in the world. The problem is if you're sticking at one thing and becoming successful at that, that works for society, but it doesn't work for everybody. And so this person really needs to find an umbrella over everything that they want to do underneath it. But because they're still trying to find the one thing that they're good at, they're not going to, because they're actually fractionally good at everything. So then what ends up happening is they go, I'm stuck and I'm blocked and I don't know what I want to do with my life. And then there's this emotion that's coming out of this person that just feels like, and so with that, then the two things of I can't focus, I don't know what I'm going to do, that means I'm not good enough, or that means that I'm not cooking with gas, whatever that is. That makes sense?
Yes.
What was the question about them?
Should they, similar to this gentleman's question, should they stick at one, should they try a more creative path or more kind of solid, secure sort of?
Well, then that is always the problem that the interdisciplinary minded will have, which is they are good at everything. So it will be when they're doing something creative, they go, oh, I'm kind of wasting my time. I should be doing something that's got like, you know, a bigger learning curve, that's more stressful, that makes me kind of like feel that I should be doing something really, really important with my brain. And then when they're doing something important with their brain, they go, this is fucking boring once they can do it, and I really hate it, and why am I doing this? And I can't stand my boss because I can see things beyond what they can see, and I need to kill them. Has this got a little bit autobiographical? So I think the thing to do is basically the creative means that they can pick and choose loads and loads of different things. In an ideal world, they'll be doing one thing for 6 months, something else for 3 months, something else, So they really need to be an entrepreneur because that's their skill set. Very good. You can take that back. You're very welcome. You may go back to your seat. Or standing at the back, I think you were. Good. Now, has anyone thought of a question? Come on, you can win a book. It's exciting. Okay, maybe it's not exciting. I'm doing my best. That's my sparklers on the floor. You can confer. What question shall I ask? Why didn't you cook tonight? What was that about Grandma? Is she coming through? No, she's not. Oh no, hang on, she is. She says, don't ask that question, whatever you do. Any questions? Yes, yes, no, yes, no. Yes, person at the back.
What question am I going to ask you?
Welcome, comedian. Okay, so. Number one. Now, this is what I believe this song has all of the lyrics of the definition of what it is to really love someone. Now, I'm sorry to tell you, it is by Alanis Morissette, which is unfortunate. However, her lyrics are really amazing. So, tell me when to stop. No conferring, tell me when to stop. Before I get to the bottom of it.
Oh, start again. Stop.
Stop.
Thank you. And the lick it is. I think I've just answered the question. What question am I going to ask? What am I going to be licked? Anyway, it says, and there are no strings attached. There we go. So the answer to the question that you were going to ask, I don't know. But whatever it is, there's no strings attached to the question. So that must work. Nobody won a book. I'm quite disappointed. What? Have you?
Yeah.
Did you like it? Would you like to just do like an on-the-spot review of my book?
Yeah, okay.
What? Oh, go on, she's got a
I
question.
just wondered how the question is, how do you win a book?
How do I what?
How do I win a book?
Ask a question.
Oh, oh, that's really easy. How do you win a book? You just get it passed back for stupid questions. Go on. You've got to do that, haven't you? You know, at the end of the day, how do you get a book? Oh, yeah. Well, how you get a book is you go downstairs and bloody buy one after. Good. So, what am I doing? How am I doing for time? I don't even know. I'm doing all right now. I don't know. What time is it? I don't even know what time I started. I don't know. So, I want to end this evening because I've just decided that's what I'm going to do. But thank you